Hey guys, Rose Pants here, back with another edition of Books in Bed, my interactive book club here on Ustream and then later uploaded to YouTube. We are still continuing on Looking for Alaska by John Green. We are now more than halfway through. Today's section that we're discussing is pages 88 to 133. Remember last week when we were reading just pages 44 to 88, I was like, it's getting juicy now. Like, are you guys ready? It's starting to get really interesting. Like, shit's going down. Making plans. And now in this next section, pages 88 to 133, shit gets intense. Like, it really starts to happen. I ended this section, like 133, it ends with like the book split with the before and after, so you find out what really happens. And for the record, I was right. They kind of spoiled a little bit online on accident, but whatever. It wasn't that shocking. Kind of saw it coming. But yes, so we made it all the way through the before part of this book. And now for next week we'll move on to the after. But for now we're talking about pages 88 to 133. Let me find my place. So when we start out on page 88, it's 47 days before, so quite a bit happens in this section. Let me go to my handy dandy notes, see what we're going to talk about. No. Okay, so it picks up and we're now in like fall time. It's Thanksgiving break, and we know that Alaska usually always either goes to her boyfriend's or stays on campus during the breaks because she hates going home. Can't stand it. Don't exactly know why yet, but it's just not an option for her to go home. So Alaska convinces Pudge to stay with her on campus, and they end up getting invited back to the Colonel's house for, shouldn't really say house, for Thanksgiving, and we really find out why he hates rich people with like the serious passion that he does, and it's because he lives in a really ghetto trailer park with his mom, who is super nice and loving. She's amazing, but they are obviously not rich by any means. They consider themselves poor, but they have really great attitudes. Like, I love the Colonel's mom. She's super nice. She manages to make them a super delicious Thanksgiving dinner, and it's nice, like, heartwarming moment. You can, like, get to know the Colonel a little bit more, because he's kind of mysterious. You don't really know how he works. He just, like, does shit, you know? You don't really understand the backing of why he made those decisions. So they have a nice Thanksgiving and all that. It's all hunky-dory. And then the drama kind of comes in. And on their way back, Pudge falls asleep. And apparently, while they were driving, Alaska tells the Colonel that she ratted out Myra, that she was the one. And of course, he freaks out and is like not trusting her at all, and says that he's like not gonna let her out of his sight. So that was kind of funny. It was, I guess I was expecting a bigger reaction, honestly. Thought he would like really freak the fuck out. Let's see, got something going on. Sorry, got distracted. Where was I? Oh, so I was kind of expecting a larger reaction to come from the Colonel after he finds this out. But is that just me? Were you like satisfied with the reaction? I thought he was really gonna freak out. But anyways, then kind of Alaska freaks out like for him, I guess. And let's see. So she goes to Pudge's room, and I said they have a weird interaction. What do they do? Let's hit it. I said page 96. Okay, so yeah, she comes to Pudge's door and she's like sobbing, really fucking like distressed. And it's right before Christmas, I guess. So Alaska says, still staring at me, she said, I try not to be scared, you know, but I still ruin everything. I still fuck up. Okay, I told her. It's okay. I didn't even know what she was talking about even more. One vague notion after another. Don't you know who you love, Pudge? You love the girl who makes you laugh and shows you porn and drinks wine with you. You don't love the crazy, sullen bitch. And there was something to that, truth be told. Um, so yeah, that was kind of awkward. Like I was expecting Pudge to be like a little bit more comforting and nice when the girl that he likes comes to his door like sobbing. Like, why wouldn't you want to console her? So I thought that was a bit awkward. Um, but you know, their relationship is so, it's like a match of ping pong. It just goes back and forth between like he's really infatuated with her and then he's like, meh, she's too much trouble. um, Okay, so Pudge goes home for Christmas. And although things seem the same, the relationship with his parents has definitely changed and like kind of matured in a way. They treat him way differently than they did before. Yay, there's more people. Hello, guests. There's like a handful of you now. That's exciting. Um, of course, stay active down below in the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments about what I'm talking about in the section looking for Alaska that we're discussing, of course. And also, when this is uploaded to YouTube later, definitely keep active in the comments below. I read them all. Um, but yeah, I thought it was kind of a nice moment. Like, his parents did feel super guilty. He lied to them, and I can't remember exactly what his lie was. But when he told his parents that he wasn't going to come home for Thanksgiving, they were like kind of instantly okay with it. And then we're like, okay, we're going to go on vacation. And so then when he was home for Christmas, they were like guilt ridden that they had done that. But whatever. Um, so then, yeah, this section kind of is like a roller coaster with lulls of just like a chunk of filler, I feel like, with like the Thanksgiving break and then the Christmas break, and then in between there's all these really exciting things that happen. So the next exciting thing that happens in this section is the Colonel, Alaska, and Pudge decide that they need to do a pre-prank against the weekday warriors. We have known all like for a while now that they were going to get back at them for flooding Alaska's room and ruining a bunch of her books. So they were been planning this like major prank, but now it's been decided that they need to do a pre-prank to distract them so then they can have like a real prank later. And catch them like super off guard because they'll think that the pre-prank is the real prank, and it's a complicated plan. But last minute, Alaska just decides to leave Pudge out of all of the planning, and so they just like he's constantly alone. Like the Colonel and Alaska will go off and do their own thing and plan shit, and then they just won't tell him anything. So um, they said something along the lines of like you don't really necessarily need to get in trouble until like it's the right time. So it made sense, I guess, but it was still kind of funny that they're just like ditching him constantly to plan this pre-prank. Um, so my next point, I said that this leads Pudge to fight his feelings for Alaska. So yeah, she's like super hot and cold all the time between like seeming like she really does genuinely like him, and then other times she's super nonchalant. It's like, no, I love my boyfriend, and all weird. So it's like the last line of the little like chapter subsection thing, page 99. Said this never happened to me in Florida. This oh so high school angst about who you like, Who more? And I hated myself for letting it happen now. You don't have to care about her, I told myself. Screw her. So I was like, he is so, like, they're both really fucking hot and cold with each other. If he's going to the extremes, being like, screw her, like, I don't need to feel feelings for her, or be emotional, and I guess waste time? I don't know. Um, so, yeah, here it is. Here's the line. Um, so, Pudge says, so, I said, what's our pre-prank? The Colonel and I will work that out. No need to get you in trouble. Yet. So there's Alaska, like, fully leaving him out of all planning for this pre-prank and then later the prank. So he's, at this moment, on page 99, when we're moving through it, he's like, screw her! It doesn't really like her so much. So then next the planning goes all through, and it is the Colonel, Alaska. God, I always do that. I like put my hands up and then I'm not in the camera. Super awkward. So it is the Colonel, Alaska, Pudge, Laura, and Takumi. They are all part of the pre-prank. They've got it all planned out, and it is known as Barn Night. So kind of exciting and elusive. You don't really know exactly what's going to happen. And then, oh, it's exciting. We finally get back to the part from the beginning of the book. I really do kind of like it. Not all books do this, but it's something that I really enjoy when books do it. Let's see. So it's like, you've got your title page, and it's like, looking for Alaska. Yay, I'm about to start this book. And then, I know, maybe it's even before that. Oh, so it's even before that. Okay, so it's like you open your book, and then right there is like an excerpt from later on in the book, and you have no, it doesn't give you a page number or anything. It's just a little subsection snippet from the book. And so you have no idea where in the actual book it takes place, but it's something super intriguing. So this one, it was titled The Prank, and it is like they're planning their prank. And so now we finally got to that in the actual book in this section that we're reading. What else do I say? Page 102. So it finally like lapses, and we figure out like the context of that conversation, which is always exciting because that's the thing, like you haven't read the book yet, so you have no context on anything and what's going to happen. So then when you're reading and you're like, hey, wait, this sounds familiar, I've read this before, and then you make the connection. So that's always an exciting moment in reading. So it's my next point, as I say, it seems like an intense plan with synchronized watches, and the Colonel like he goes all out with this pre-prank, and he gives everyone a piece of paper with their itinerary on it, with timing like down to the minute. They really do synchronize their watches, and they all make their lies for how they're like they have an alibi because they're doing the pre-prank on campus, but it's obviously going to be really obvious if they're on campus. They're the pranksters. So if you're known to be on campus and a prank happens, they're going to get caught for it. So they all have alibis for being off campus. And then they all get away with it, and what is it, the Eagle, he's like the one in charge, he buys it. So like they're pretty much good to go. And so the plan starts with Takumi and Pudge setting off fireworks, or like popper, snapper things. I don't know, the ones that are like on strings. What are they called? They're not fireworks exactly. I mean, I guess they are fireworks. It's a type of firework, but it's not the one that like shoots up into the sky. They have a name. Ugh, I hate it when words escape your brain like that. So, moving on. So, yeah, the plan goes off. It seems to be working. They have like some hitches. They run into the swan, like this infamous swan that lives on the lake at the Culver Creek school. It's a really mean swan. We knew that before, so it's like we get proof that it's a mean swan, and it bites Pudge in the ass. So that's a funny moment, of course. Gotta appreciate that. He's like running, trying not to get caught. He has no idea if the eagle is actually like chasing them behind or going to catch up to them. Has no idea, but is just trying to go as fast as possible and then gets bit in the ass anyways. um, do, do, the next like huge thing it's involved with this prank is that Alaska changes it like super last minute while they're doing the prank. She just like goes out on a limb, and I think it pisses off the Colonel a bit because it like increases their chances of getting caught. So it's a very intense plan with all of these different steps. And so one of the parts of this plan is that they're going to be sending home progress reports saying that some of the weekday warriors are failing their classes. So their parents are going to freak out, they're going to get in crazy trouble, and it'll be drama. So they were originally only doing it for, I want to say like 3 or 4 people, or like maybe even 2. That's what the plan was. And then Alaska is just crazy. And so she ends up going back and sending it to like 20 of the weekday warriors. Obviously, it makes it a little bit more obvious who could have sent it, even though they do have these alibis. So the Colonel's pretty fucking pissed about that. Doesn't like it one bit. But, I mean, regardless, they seem to have gotten away with it. They all finally meet back at the barn, where they spend the night and get all super schwasty, shit-faced off of their, like, weird strawberry wine. And so it seems all good, you know, they have a nice fun night all together, they're, like, camping out. And then it kind of gets intense. They're playing this game, like they're getting too wasted too fast. So they're like, hey, let's make a drinking game of some sort. And then it kind of gets a little bit morbid because they decide to discuss their best day and then their worst day. And of course, the worst days are going to be really, really sad and depressing. And then, of course, Alaska takes the cake for the most depressing. And she, of course, wins because you find out that her mom died when she was 8. And there was really nothing she could do. Like, her mom had an aneurysm and then just, like, collapsed. I don't really know too much about brain aneurysms. I'm pretty damn sure it's slim chance that you survive, like, unless you have a brain aneurysm in a hospital. I don't think it's possible to get medical attention quick enough to actually help you. Even if she did have, like, the courage or clarity or whatever she was lacking in that moment when she doesn't call 911. She really blames herself for that, and it's super sad. So we find out like why she's so sullen and moody and bipolar, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes she's like super like sunny and friendly and amazing, but then other times she's like super crazy and depressed. So that's pretty much why we find out. And then so yeah, they get away with their prank. They finally go back to school. And the next exciting thing that happens is Pudge gets the most awkward blowjob ever. Oh my god, it's so awkward. It's so awkward. Ow, I just hit my head. It's so awkward. Oh my god. So while they are like in the barn or whatever, him and Laura finally like get all snuggly, cuddly, and they make out. And he asks her to be his girlfriend. And so when they're back at school, they're hanging out in the movie room. They lock the door, and you don't really think that anything's gonna happen. But then, super out of the blue, with her like cute little accent, she asks him if he's ever had a blowjob, and he's like, no. And then I love the inner dialogue because he's like freaking out in his head that he's about to get his first blowjob. Let's see, I don't think I wrote down the page, but let's go back through this because it's really funny. Okay, so there's still a moment. Okay, they wake up the next day, they're all hungover. Okay, here we go. We spent the afternoon, or I spent the afternoon with Laura. We were very cutesy, even though we didn't know the first thing about each other and barely talked. They're like the most awkward couple ever, and I really feel like Pudge is just doing this to like kind of force his mind off of Alaska and not like her so much. But let's see, she grabs his butt, and he's still sore from the goose bite. And then, oh yeah, here we go, I found it, okay. Super awkward out of the blue. I have to read this part because it's just hilarious. They're watching the Brady Bunch. This is what makes this like moment even more awkward, is because not only like they're not even watching something sexy on TV that like gets them into the mood, and then like that's what you think puts the idea of blowjobs in her mind, because they're just sitting there watching the Brady Bunch. So just as the Bradys were getting, when this is page 126, if you're following along at home, just as the Bradys were getting locked in jail, Laura randomly asked me, "Have you ever gotten a blowjob?" That's out of the blue, I said. The blue? Like, you know, out of left field. Left field? Like in baseball. Like, out of nowhere? I mean, what made you just think of that? I've just never given one. I love the spelling. She answered, her voice dripping with seductiveness. It was so brazen. I thought I would explode. I never thought. I mean, from Alaska, hearing that stuff was one thing. But to hear her sweet little Romanian voice go sexy all of a sudden? No, I said. I never have. Think it would be fun? She asked. Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fun. And then, yeah, now we get to the inner dialogue. Do I? And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 question mark exclamation points after. Like, his inner dialogue is just like, mind blown. Like, is this girl about to give me a blowjob? And so it says, yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I think I want to, she said. And we kissed a little. And then with me sitting watching the Brady Bunch, watching Marsha, up to her Brady antics, Laura unbuttoned my pants and pulled my boxers down a little and pulled out my penis. Wow, she said. What? She looked up at me but didn't move, her face nanometers away from my penis. It's weird. What do you mean, weird? Just big, I guess. Oh god, I think this is definitely like the funniest moment out of this entire book. Like, I really enjoyed the section before with the whole like guy that made the homemade bong out of the 3 random items. But then this, like, John Green is just like surprising me. I never thought, like, watching so many Vlogbrothers videos and like feeling like I know John Green and like his context with all these things. I just never thought that he would write about these things. I don't know. Was his first blowjob super awkward? I'm so curious now. And like awkwardly curious. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be wondering these things about John Green. but I am. This is what this book has taken me. My pervy mind. Okay. Okay. But okay. Yeah. The end of this chapter gets so intense so quick. So you're like all excited. Pudge gets this awkward ass blowjob. So yeah, we're on like page 127. We end this section on 133. So not too many more pages. It's like what? 6 pages. Like, blah. So much happens. So he gets that awkward blowjob. He goes to talk to Alaska about it, and he's hanging out with the Colonel and Alaska, and they're drinking, of course. Well, Pudge isn't, but Alaska and the Colonel are drinking and having fun and whatnot. And then it seems like super duper out of the blue, Pudge and Alaska hook up. Oh my god. Okay, it's not like hook up. They don't sleep together. But she's like super seductive. They are playing truth or dare. Pudge chooses dare, and she is like, make out with me. Or hook up with me. I found it. So, page 130, Alaska started. Truth or dare, Pudge? Dare. Hook up with me. So I did. Ah, mind blown. Oh my god. I love moments like this when you're reading a book and something happens. And then, I don't know if it happens for you, but I know it definitely happens for me. My, like, reading speed gets so much more intensified, and my eyes are just, like, scanning this page as fast as possible, and was like, get these words into my head, like, I need to know what's gonna happen as fast as possible. I need to know. Yeah, so yeah, crazy exciting. Oh my god. So they're like hooking up, making out, and he tries to ask her, what about Laura, Jake? Again, she shushed me. Less tongue, more lips. Like, what, Alaska? Like, again, with your flip-flopping. What are you doing? You're always claiming that you love your boyfriend so much, but apparently you really like Pudge, which we all knew all along. Okay, so how is it? I don't remember how the game ends. Like, they just fall asleep? So yeah, he falls asleep. He can still taste her in his mouth. Okay, here we go. So I guess it just... Aha, that's how it happens. So they fall asleep, and he feels Alaska get up and leave. He's like in a daze, so doesn't really know like how long she was gone. And then they wake up when she returns. She like barges in. You're mean? Are you saying that I'm mean? I'm reading a comment. I'm so confused. I don't know what you're talking about. Someone in the live comments right now. So she comes back to the room and is freaking out and is like screaming at them that they need to help her distract the eagle so she can leave, so she can drive away. And they don't really understand what's going on. She's just screaming there, like it's even in all caps. She screamed, not even just says it, she screams it. I just have to go. Help me get out of here. They like ask her where she needs to go, and she doesn't reply a specific answer. She just says that she needs to go, distract the eagle, go. Like this is the last page of this section. And so, I mean, we have these moments where there's like the inner dialogue with Pudge, and there's like things that he wants to say but then doesn't. So they leave and they go and they start their little like firecrackers. I think that's the word for it. Remember earlier I couldn't remember the word for something. I was saying fireworks, firecrackers. They set off firecrackers to be a distraction for the eagle. And So it's like this sad moment where it's like, this is where you really know what's going to happen after the after. We did not say, don't drive, you're drunk. We did not say, we aren't letting you in that car when you're upset. We did not say, we insist on going with you. We did not say, this can wait until tomorrow. Anything, everything can wait. So they go back, they grab the firecrackers, it worked well enough. Eagle tears out of his house, the distraction is done, and she drives off. That is the end of this section, and then we get to the dun 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 after. Oh my god. So, I don't know about you guys reading at home, but I got to this section and like already had the inkling in my mind what is going to happen, and so I could not stop reading. So I continued on and had to find out. I did find out, it was confirmed, I was right, but we will discuss that next week. Let me just double check the pages. So next week we're going to be reading pages 137 to 182 because it skips a few pages in between, like the ending of the before section, then moving on to the after. So it's actually page 137 that it starts on, and we'll read to page 182. Let me see where that ends up. I didn't read that far. I definitely didn't read the entire next section. Okay, so yeah, you'll be able to tell where it is on 182 when you get there. It's like after that little subsection now. You'll end right before it says 28 days after. So we're gonna leave it on that fucking cliffhanger, the dun 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 moment of this book where Alaska goes AWOL, essentially. She flips the fuck out over something. We don't really know exactly what, but we will discuss it next week. Thank you guys so much for joining me for Books in Bed, my interactive book club, hosted here on Ustream and then posted to YouTube, of course. This has been Looking for Alaska by John Green, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!